Okay, so took the carburetor off of the engine. Mine's an older one, so you have a fuel return line here in the front. That's what the bigger one is a fuel return line. This right here is a vacuum line, and that's a vacuum line to help control the floats and the other valves inside. And then this right here, that's your fuel inlet. Okay. I took those off, and then it's 4 bolts, and that's all that holds the carburetor on. A lot of carburetors, that's all that holds them on is 4 bolts. Some of these tips will apply as well to some of the newer carburetors that are, well, it's not a carburetor, it's kind of a carburetor, it's a carburetor body that they stuck fuel injectors inside here. These are the barrels. Inside here, the little part here, that's where the fuel comes in and atomizes with air, and this is called a venturi. Okay, each one of these holes right here, this is a barrel. So this is a 4-barrel carburetor. There are 2-barrel carburetors, there are 1-barrel carburetors. I've never seen more than 4, but there are engines that use 3 2-barrel carburetors, 2 4-barrel carburetors, so there's all kinds of setups, but they're all basically the same thing. It's just different sizes, different amount of fuel comes in, all that kind of stuff. So, what we did to prepare, I have a white. This is the best thing you can use if you can go to a sewing store, or you might have some around the house, an old curtain or something. An old piece of linen is going to be the best because it won't let any lint come off of it. And that's what you want to prevent. Any little piece of dirt, gunk, or whatever is going to cause it to run horrible. So, got that. Now I'm doing this inside only because I know all the fuels run out of it. If you can also do it inside a building or whatever, just make sure that you leave it outside long enough that you don't really smell any fuel in it anymore. That way you're safe with fumes and stuff inside of a building. And it is pretty heavy, by the way. Okay. Other thing you're going to need, this is obviously older. I've had this for a long time, so trust me, it's not sponsored by Oswald. But you want some carb cleaner, okay? Now this stuff evaporates very, very quickly. The last thing that you'll need, and I've got over here, what I'm going to do to set parts in as I take them out is a piece of styrofoam. You could even use more linen. Basically, you want something so you're not going to lose your parts and pieces. You want to be able to set them somewhere. You're going to need some paper towels. Spend a couple extra dollars and get some that aren't going to break up into lint on you. And the last thing is a carburetor rebuild kit. Now, I ordered this one on Amazon, 18 bucks. So it comes with all the gaskets, all the springs, all the needles, all the floats, all that stuff that you need. You even have the ruler in here, so you can set everything to the right things that it needs to be. And basically, this whole thing is going to get rebuilt. So this is how we're going to do it. So first, we're going to go ahead and take the top off. There's 4 screws. So you take these. There's, let's see how many across the top here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. You're going to take these 8 T screws out. I think they're T8 on this one, but just make sure that you get the right one. And then we'll pull the top off, and then I'll show you the next steps. Okay, now all those screws are out. Okay, as you can see, they're coming up. So you got to take off this screw here. Okay, you're going to unscrew that. And then this right here. Now there are little cotter pins you can take out the other way too. These all come apart. But this is probably about the easiest way to do it, because these are very, very tiny cotter pins. So the less of these you can avoid taking out, the better, because it's also easier to put it back together if you don't take pictures as well. So we'll take those off, and then I'll show you the next step. Now this is my I gotta take this pin off of here, this cotter pin, in order to be able to remove the top. It was on this side right here. I also unbolted this side over here so I could take it off the other side. Now, so far, I haven't needed any other tools but the bits for this and this. The size of the driver is the same size as the nuts that are on this that I can't get to work. So, but this is what I was trying to show you why it's that small. Okay? They're teeny, tiny, tiny, tiny. Okay, you're gonna want some needle nose for this. But that's why anything you can avoid taking these off, the better. They get lost really easily and they're very, very small. So, put that in the container and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, now, this little piece right here, this is one of the weights that helps tell the carburetor whether to add more fuel or less fuel. It's a weight that tells it, and it's inside the top unit here, okay, with a very little spring. So, all this stuff, all the screws and everything, and they're pretty much, so far, I'm be able to tell the way it goes back together just by that, but I'm putting all the parts and pieces in here in this stainless steel bin, and we're going to clean all these parts just using some vinegar. So you don't necessarily need to buy a lot of stuff now. I do have the carb clean stuff, and that's mainly going to be used to clean the jets and clean stuff that I need some pressure to blow throughout. So you'll want to take both those weights off each side of this, and then your floats are right here as well. Okay, and this is, it's kind of what they call it, a needle. It just tells it if it needs more fuel dumped in there. That's how that way it works. So get the rest of this taken apart, and then we'll go to the next part. Okay, as you can see, we have the top plate turned over now, and so you see how this works. These floats just go on these pins. There's no cotter pin, no nothing. And this is what makes it. If you've ever done stuff in your toilet, it's got a float in there. It tells it to turn on and off. Same concept as this. It just pushes up against the valve, lets gas flow in and out. If you want to take these both off, and you can see this gasket in here, you're going to want to take the gasket off and make sure that surface is all nice and clean. Underneath your floats is going to be your another set of needles that tells how much fuel to come in and out. This is what meters it. So you got to make sure these get really clean too. All the parts that I'm showing you right now, screws and stuff, yes, you want to make sure they're up, but these parts have to be absolutely pristine. Otherwise, you're going to be rebuilding the carburetor again sooner than you thought. So you want to make sure you get these out, and I'll get the gasket off here and we'll go to the next step. You want to take out the fuel input. Okay. And for the same reason, we're taking everything else up to make sure everything gets nice and clean. You see that little screen in there? You see a little tiny, it's hard to see. There's a little tiny screen in there. So we want to make sure this is all clean because this will go to those needles. Okay? Now, this part here sits in here like this. Okay? Sits in there like that. It's another part that controls the fuel into the bowls for it to jet up into the venturi through those needles. Okay, there's a piece on both sides. Okay, now I want you to see why. Now, I did pay for it to get fixed by a mechanic. That's true. Okay, there's another piece here. Throttle linkage. But the price that I paid for them is about the same price as this carburetor would be brand new. So, a rebuild kit's worth it to do. Now, I want you to look inside here. I don't know if we can see very well. See all those spots and stuff? It's just all crud. See down here? This is called the bowl. This is where the float sits. This is where the fuel sits. So you see all that sediment in there? I showed you those needles. That's why these things have a hard time after a while. You know, if you don't keep up on your getting good fuel, if you don't keep up on your fuel filter changes on these carburetors, that's what causes the problem. So now we're going to take off the second plate here. And we're going to pull out the bowls. We're going to take off all these screws on top, and we're going to take out this assembly. Okay. Okay. There were 2 jets here that I've taken off, and a gasket. Okay. This is the Venturi. It's got a jet coming in, and you see the little gasket on them. You have to make sure you get all these gaskets. Now, what I recommend, try to get them all in one piece, obviously. This one I'm going to have to take a little more, but what I recommend is taking all these and setting them on your linen, and then when you get your rebuild kit out, make sure you got all the gaskets you need, or if there's extra in the rebuild kit, then you either haven't gotten what you need to get off yet, or it was never there in the first place. But so that's what it looks like. Now just to show you, the fuel gets sucked up from here. Okay, that's another needle that controls how fast. It's sucked up right there. Gets spit out the bottom here, and air comes in here, and that's what atomizes it and makes your air-fuel mixture. Now, in a fuel injector car, that's handled with the injector itself. But this is how this is done. Now, I'll show you. These are the how do I put this? These are what they call the main bowls, because they're always open on the carburetor. This one has a butterfly flap that's over, but this has a butterfly flap that's in there, and that's what controls the air-fuel mixture into your engine. The butterfly assembly, at least in the L blocks, and let me explain this to you. I'm sorry, I have my mic unplugged there for a minute. The L blocks are very, very easy to do. There are very complicated carburetors that have tons of different screws. It can be hard to put together. Take pictures. You know, when I was younger and I didn't have that possibility, that sucked. But let me explain to you. If you ever do drum brakes, and this is how I learned before barrel cameras, do one side and take it apart, and then do the other. Don't pull them both apart at the same time so you can see how it goes back together. Right there. This is the butterfly assembly. I'll put this down, and we'll go to the next step. Now, turn the carb over. There's the bottom side of it. Okay. You can make sure there's no springs or whatever, or any screws. If you just turn it over on your linen, turn it back over, you're going to see if there's any screws or anything. This is an adapter plate. Okay, that's what this is. It's also thinner, gives it a little bit more horsepower. But so you want to take that off. Okay. Now I've taken all my gaskets, set them aside, and then all my new parts and stuff are over here in the styrofoam container. Okay. Like I said, you want to make sure you have that styrofoam container so you don't lose your parts and pieces. I'm going to try to get out as much of the gasket as I can, but I may not be able to get all of it off, but we're going to try to get a lot of it off before I go in and get the brush and all that kind of stuff. So next you want to start taking the stuff from the bottom of the assembly off that you can, and get the rest of the innards out, and then we're going to get cleaned up and we're going to get put back together. So the next steps as we go. Something you really don't see on fuel injector vehicle. This is a choke mechanism. This is an electric choke mechanism. They also make one that is non-electric that you just pull a thing. But basically what this does is it's all the way out right now, which holds the flap closed to choke it and bring more fuel in than air. As it warms up, this opens up automatically. It's just a thermal spring. So that's how that works. Inside the choke assembly, You'll see another valve that stops air, stuff, etc., etc. So now we're going to take off the choke body itself. There's your choke assembly. Okay, again, anytime we can avoid taking those little cotter pins off, let's do it. Next, you're going to want to remove your spring tensioners for the valves. Okay, that's the next part we remove. Once you have those 2 nuts and bolts in, it should slide right apart. Right off. Okay. Now, you should be able to undo your tooth here, and then you pull your bars through. That's the next step. Okay, now we have the assembly. Those fall right out. Once you take your butterfly valves out, you're worried about how to put them back in? Well, we can't see in the camera. There are 2 different size holes. Okay, one says 289, one says 281. So you're pretty much going to be able to put them right back in where you came. And the same with the throttle style, let's call it that right now, or axle. So we'll go to the next step, and then I think we're almost to where we're going to start cleaning. So these are your idle adjustment screws. Okay, you want to take those out because they'll have little needles in there as well. You don't have to take this one out. This is just the throttle stop for the idle. So as you can see, we're pretty much cleaned out otherwise. And so once you take these out, then you can go ahead and start getting stuff ready for put back together. Just to show you, again, we're running, this is another little needle point. So as you can see, any little speck of dust is going to cause your carburetor to run not very well. So, needle springs. Now, I think it does come with a lot of new springs and stuff like that. But I'm still going to clean them off. And that way I can make sure I got the right parts when I put it back in. So, once I have that next screw out, I'm going to go put them in a container of vinegar. Let them soak for a while, and then we'll go ahead and make sure I've got the right parts and pieces in my rebuild kit. Alright, now I've got the next piece inside here. I've got them all cleaned up. I've still got some stuff soaking in vinegar down there. But basically you want to make sure it's all nice and shiny as you can get it. And we've got these to take out now. These are going to be your needle points. And that's what's in here. Okay, so they have a little slot. You just use a flathead screwdriver and you take those out, and then we can start putting them back together. Okay, as you go, try to go in reverse order. You take it apart. As you put the flaps in, don't tighten them all the way down until you make sure it has free motion in there, and then you can go ahead and snug it down. Because if you don't do that, you're going to end up binding up.